Hello there everyone! So welcome to this video. This is some of my custom-made Forsaken characters, both killers and survivors. Some of them are mostly based off of my friends and family, most likely me, my cousin that abandoned me, and my friend Benji. I haven't made a Sam yet because he's not really on good terms with me, but if he starts being nicer to me, I might make one of him. But aside from that, let's get into the video. First up is 1K. This is a killer based off of 1X. He was created by 1X to be a bit of a helper to kill other survivors where he isn't. But something went wrong. 1K didn't have the same intentions as 1X. He had a heart, a soul, and feelings that made him feel sad for the other survivors, making him not a killer, but more like a survivor level. But instead of actually saying anything about this to 1X, he chose to actually secretly help the survivors when 1X is not paying attention, giving them medkits and stuff. But when he eventually got found out, the gods of Forsaken didn't find this pleasing, and 1X was very disappointed. So they demoted him to a killer to a survivor, taking away most of his powers, only leaving him with his giant axe, wings, and style hairdo. Most of his powers was in his hat, that was given to him by 1X. Since there was lightning coming out of it, it was overflowing. But now there's only a little left, hiding in the depths of the little cube things. Now then, the blue horns actually transformed him from the green to the blue. This is the final Karasin version I made for 1X as a survivor. His new name is 87K, because he didn't like being called 1K since it was so close to 1X. But people still call him 1K because it's more easier to say than 87K. As his new blue counterpart, he gained a skeleton inside of his body, sewing it like 1X, just with a blue outline instead of a green one. His lower half got soaked with blue lightning, and it's still happening when he got transformed in his new blue stage. His tail transformed into an axe for defense. He got rid of his old axe and replaced it with a blue one, showing that he no longer likes 1X. And his rings transformed into blue as well. He kept the hat, not changing it, because it was the only thing giving him his powers. But his abilities in both stages are flying away from both killers and flying towards survivors, and using his axe to attack. Towards survivors, he would slam his axe down or swing it across to try to kill them. But as a killer, he will try to slash his sword or slam it down to kill the survivors. But as a survivor, he would try to smash down his axe once at the killer, to try to harm them by stunning them or something. Ditto with the new tail. He'll swing around and try to chop them in half, only being able to paralyze them for a short amount of time since he has been weakened. Anyways, next survivor. Next up, Demon Benji. This is based off of my friend Benji. By the look of him, you might think, oh, this guy's clearly a killer. But no, his dark, evil persona is actually just a disguise to make him look tough. Even though he hides the toughness with idiocy. But he's actually pretty weak, and he can only fly for a short amount of distance, and he can only use a gun as a weapon. He is similar to Chance, but instead of having a chance thing, he just has a timer on his gun. But he can miss it if the killer is smart enough to dodge. But aside from that, he's basically only able to escape once with his wings, not having a cooldown, but more like the Pizza Man runaway thing. But if he gets a shot on the killer and actually shoots him, he can get a new one just like the Pizza Man. He's basically a mix of the Pizza Man and Chance, but with a bit of more evil persona. His main skins are just this one, and his level 30 skin is basically just a normal default, my Benji skin. I don't really have a photo of it, but I'll show you in a future video if I ever make an update on this. But yeah, that's basically Benji's for survivor form. I won't be giving him a killer form or anything, just because I feel like he should be a survivor instead of a killer, giving him too much power of a killer anyways. Anyways, let's move on to the next killer. Next up is Dictator Monkey 02. This is based off of my cousin, Wyatt. Well, he really cut ties with me, but I've been trying to reconnect with him. If he ever sees this video, maybe he might call me and I might actually be able to reconnect with him. But aside for that, Dictator Monkey is a killer. He used to have rainbow particles on him, and his pizza wings was just a signature thing along with his pizza mask. But after he became a killer, his syrup became one with him. He became part werewolf, and his rainbow particles turned into magical circles, and he merged with his clothes, giving him more power. He was able to use these magical circles to shoot you from a distance, like 1X uses his swords to throw at you. And he can use his rampage mode to run faster, but it does limit his vision a little bit, similar to 1X as well. But if he actually fills up 2 kills, and he's under the 1 minute mark, he can actually stop time and be able to fly around without using any stamina. But this only works for 30 seconds. And after that, he needs to cool down and actually pauses for survivors to actually run away and heal. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky killer to actually use, but it's actually interesting. And I don't really have too much of a backstory for this character, but I have a little bit. His backstory is he was just playing on a normal Roblox game, but then he saw a random portal, thought it was just a new update, so he walked through it and became captured by the Forsaken Universe. At first, he was frightened, but then he got power and started feeling out the urge to kill, soon becoming the maniac he is, a dictator instead of a king. Next up is the Bacon Hair. We all know Guess's backstory. He used to have a family, but then he lost them in the Bacon Hair versus Roblox war, and basically that character was just stolen by a YouTube video. And if you've seen the whole series, you would know that the Bacon actually had a rebellion against other Bacons thanks to one specific Bacon Hair. This is that one specific Bacon Hair. And if you also know, the new replacement for Jason is that Bacon Hair's father. And this is actually his son. So, I added him in, giving him a bit of a backstory as well. But aside from that, let's move on to his abilities. First things first, he has the same Rust and Punch ability as, Guest, because they're both from the war. I added that part from, story reasons. Anyways, but the Bacon Hair actually has one more special ability. Instead of blocking and then punching, he actually just has a punch with a cooldown. That makes him a bit more dangerous than Guess for a killer, because instead of just worrying about dodging or not hitting the block, you need to worry about the Bacon Hair actually having his punch button off cooldown, and that basically makes it annoying. Anyways, now for his backstory. After Guest went missing a long time ago, the Bacon Hair knew he had to try to help him out. So he volunteered to take Guess's place while he's missing and join the war. Army. And after that, he started making a little search party to try to find guests. But on his own, while looking for guests, he went missing, eventually joining guests in Forsaken. Now then, time for the next killer. I call this killer the Frozen Angel. Their backstory is a bit fuzzy, but here's what I can tell you all. They were in a little Frida facility game, but instead of escaping with all of their friends, they got captured, forgotten, left behind, eventually becoming frozen, while the beast lost control of let me repeat that. While the emerald inside the beast lost control and broke, the beast was set free. But along with the emerald breaking, so did the test tubes trying to freeze the escapees. Eventually, that one frozen person broke with that machine. The ice grew them wings, giving them power. But instead of using it to escape, they used it for revenge. They found the beasts and tried to hunt them down, eventually trying to kill them. But then they both vanished. Eventually, they both appeared in, Forsaken. Eventually, the beast was a survivor, and they were a killer. Eventually, they found beasts in more lobbies along with more survivors. Thinking that these survivors were their former friends, they chose to kill everyone that they saw. And after they saw them be revived again and again, they just got more anger. Eventually, not caring about their story or their backstory or why they do this. They just want to kill the beasts and their former friends, as they thought these other survivors were. That's their backstory. Their abilities are pretty similar to other killers that I just told you. They can fly around the map. They can actually summon ice things like that one pirate skin for John Doe. And their physical attack, they basically just hit them in the face. And I don't really have a model for the beast yet, so you're going to have to wait for that. Anyways, let's go to the next killer. Say hello to Guess's childhood friend. You would have been thinking, wait, isn't this guy a skin for a guest? Well, he is. But in my custom Forsaken universe, he's actually a killer. You might be wondering, but how? He's not evil anyway. He's actually a pretty good guy. Well, you might be wondering why all that's right. But here's the thing. He's been infected by some kind of virus. Maybe some virus created by Runx and John Doe, you might be thinking, because of all this virus stuff on their chest. Well, let me tell you their backstory that actually confirmed this. After the bacon hair went missing as well, they went searching every single night, trying to find any clues of where Guest and the bacon hair could have gone, eventually going insane, and actually going to the bar a lot. But after this, one night when they were going to the bar, they saw a weird portal. After hearing the bacon hair say they found a portal on the radio all the time ago, he thought this portal might have been a clue of where they could have gone. So he ran inside, eventually seeing both John Doe and 1X. Seeing this, he was confused, not knowing who these people are. But then, John Doe and 1X attacked him. Eventually, their attacks collided, and it hit him at once, turning him evil and infected him with both of their viruses at once. And then he was turned into a killer, not knowing his past or why he's like this. He just knows he needs to kill the survivors, and that's all he really cares about these days. But every time he sees the Guest and the bacon hair, he starts thinking, who are they? Why do I feel like they are part of my past? Not knowing this and not caring, he eventually just keeps on killing. But the true version of himself waits inside his mind, waiting for the day he'll break free from this virus. And that's his backstory. Now for the attacks. His attacks are pretty simple. he just has a rust like that one purple guy. He also has a gun suit thing, just like not 007. Two, no, it was I'm forgetting names. Chance. And also he also just has a normal punch. He's basically a weak killer because he doesn't have any range, good range attacks. But he's also not a bad killer because he actually has good strategies. So he's pretty cheap. He might be one of the more cheap killers you see in the lobbies just because of how cheap he is. Anyways, that's basically it. I don't have any more models, and even if I did, I couldn't wait to sell them because, Jesus Christ, this video is wrong. So if you think these killers and survivors are actually pretty good, and you think Forsaken should add them, let Forsaken know and shout me out. Because I'm trying to tell Forsaken all my ideas to try to give you guys more good things to play on, but they're not really listening. And I don't even think they know I exist, so help me out, and that way I can help you guys out. And yeah, see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.